The July 17th, 2023 special call meeting of the Social Circle Board of Education is called to order. First item on our agenda is prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask all those who would like to please stand while we pray the Lord's Prayer together and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Thank you. The flag is here. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Apologies. A few minutes late. Next on our agenda, it's a very sad situation that we lost a former board member this morning, Michael O'Connor, who went through our Lord. And so, in honor of Michael, we're going to have a moment of silence. Thank you. The next item is approval of our agenda.
No, sir.
No changes. Do I have a motion to accept the approval of the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. The next item on our agenda is executive session. We'll go, do I have a motion to exit regular session and enter executive session for the purpose of real estate?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. We will exit into executive session into the room back here, and then we will be back shortly, I imagine. Do I have a motion to exit executive session and re-enter regular session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Dr. Brewer, do you have a recommendation from the board?
I do have a recommendation. Are there any comments that need to be made before the recommendation?
When you report it to the Tribune, I know maybe one can't officially public, but I'd like to have mine recorded.
So it's my recommendation, after careful consideration, that we accept the city's offer for their property at 335 Vine Circle in Social Circle in exchange for the below listed properties per the conditions detailed within the agreement that's proposed by the city. That includes Stevens Park on Fairplay Drive, Social Circle Primary School on AP Henderson, Social Circle Elementary School on West Hightower Trail.
Dr. Brewer, before we do the vote, I'd just like to announce that there are members of this board that see me as having a potential conflict of interest in voting, that I reserve the right to vote.
Okay.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept the recommendation by our superintendent.
So
Mr.
moved.
Chairman, if I could, I'd like to make a couple of comments before we vote.
Let's do that in open discussion, Mr. Trainer.
Okay?
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any comments? Open discussion. Mr. Trainer.
I continue to have considerations, as mentioned earlier, many times in executive session, or as many times as the opportunity presented itself, and I believe one time in the public session, that I have serious considerations about how we're approaching this property exchange in terms of our responsibility as a board. I believe some of our primary responsibilities, two of them, are first and foremost is to provide the superintendent with the tools she needs in order to run our school system, and I think she has those. I also believe that our primary responsibilities after that are to keep the kids safe, give her the tools to keep the school district and the children and the parents safe, and to be responsible for the financial aspects of the school district. And I think both of those are in jeopardy under this recommendation. I feel as though the bypass itself, the truck route, the single access point to this acreage is going to provide at least twice a day for a normal school student the opportunity to cross the truck route in front of what is a growing concern for the entire community as far as how many tractor trailers are running up and down that 2-lane blacktop road. And every time a school bus is going to make a turn, slow down, downshift, and make that turn some percentage of the time crossing that road, slowing to go up the hill, presents a broadside opportunity, and I find that very unsafe for a school bus. I've ridden a bunch of them as a coach, and I can tell you that school buses are not agile. They do not speed up and slow down quickly. I think there's some financial aspects of that we've been told historically by city manager, that the state would take care of all kinds of deceleration lanes and making the roads safe and signage. And then we've subsequently been told that that is not the case. That becomes the school board's responsibility. To my knowledge, we've not been told how much that's going to cost. It seems to be, it's not going to be cheap. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. The city has also told us that we would have some responsibilities on some alternative property where we would have to replace some power lines, water lines, fire hydrants. We were told that that would be the school system's responsibility. We've subsequently been told that that's not true. Those are things that are all taken care of by public utility companies, the state. The social circle would not be responsible, social circle city schools would not be responsible for moving phone poles and moving power lines, moving sewage lines, moving fire hydrants. That would not be our responsibility. So those proposed costs or indicated costs by members of the city were not true. And we've gone forward making some decisions based on those kinds of statements that have been made by folks that it's in their interest to have us accept their proposal for their property, the city property out of the truck route. As close as I can calculate, based on values of properties, proposed costs of properties, an appraisal that's not yet complete. In my mind, the property has not been properly vetted for a transaction of this size. But in my rough calculations, we're well in excess of $2 million on balance with this proposal. It's going to cost somewhere between in my numbers, be somewhere between $2 and $5 million to accept this proposal over the other alternative that has not been presented. I'm disappointed we haven't had a more extensive opportunity to talk about that both publicly and privately, but it hasn't been offered as a recommendation. So again, I see us somewhere between $2 and $5 million out of balance with the cost of the project. I see us putting our students in harm's way as they ride buses up and down that hill out on the truck route. And I also see that I believe that the truck route, this option, is going to take longer than the other options would have taken had we followed that route, and that we still don't have any definitive answers about when the school's going to open. And every day that goes on, every month that goes on, it's going to cost more. We all know that the economy isn't what we want it to be, and the cost of everything is going up. So when I say $2 to $5 million, I could be way out of whack if we don't get the project done somewhere close to the engineer's hopeful deadline of early 25. If we don't get that done, the costs of doing that are going to be exponentially larger. And we're putting the taxpayers in harm's way. I don't think that this project is, because of the nature of doing land deals, I understand we're not allowed to share that information publicly. But I'm here to tell you that I've had people in my precinct make me aware that they're very aware of the potential costs of this project. And I believe that information was provided to them outside of the circle that it normally should be shared. I think there has been information that should not be available to the public, and when I've asked about it, I've been told, well, everybody knows. And it's a small town, and we talk, sometimes it's guessing, sometimes it's certainty. I've actually had the Social Circle Development Authority leadership come to my table after a school board meeting and pound my desktop repeatedly and tell me how wrong I was to pursue this approach to the cost of this project, the timing of this project, and then everybody knew about it and quit bringing it up. And I can't do that. I can't do that. And given that, I believe I've spoken candidly and frequently to this entire group about my position with this and offered each of you the opportunity to come to me and convince me, explain to me why this is the correct path. And no one's been able to do that. I've had one person, our vice chair, when discussed with her the potential problems with this, the issues with the cost. And I was told, point blank, we're not worried about the money. And I'm sorry, that's one of our primary responsibilities. We're responsible for the money. If you'll let me finish, I'll give you a chance to speak. While at the summer conference, with a meeting with both yourself and Dr. Gore, the subject was raised, and you told me that your considerations about this land had nothing to do with the money. The money didn't matter. That's all I have to say, and obviously I have no intention of voting for this recommendation.
Any other comments?
Can I go before you, Jim?
Yes, please.
I first take offense to just attacking me, but it's okay. When we had that discussion, I did not say that the money didn't matter. I stated that the students was my first priority. That's what I stated, but you left that part out. So you can flip the script any kind of way to attack me, Mr. Trantham, that's fine. But I did not say that money was my number one priority. I did say that it wasn't my number one priority that the students were.
Thank you.
So I went with the students.
Can I make a comment?
Are you finished?
I am.
Can I speak?
Yes.
In your response to your timetable, in response to studying all this out, we were presenting this proposal 2 to 3 years ago. And it was shot down no time to, we were not given any time to look at it. It was shot down dead in the water. There was no discussion of it, nothing. We didn't have time to even do anything, so. And you talking about cost, if we'd have took this 2 years ago, we'd have one halfway built.
I disagree. Your previous argument to that point has been 4 years ago, before I was on this board. And you've said 4 years ago numerous times.
4 years ago, whatever. But it was before, it had been presented to us before.
It may have been, not while I was on this board.
Okay, yeah.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Do you want to recognize?
No.
Ms. Winter? Any other comments?
No.
Any comments? I have some comments. I actually took the time to meet with Carol Daniel at the summer conference and speak with and talk to another construction company there. I brought that information to our CFO and to our superintendent. That was followed by a meeting with our superintendent, me, Mr. Trantham, and our CFO. You have all been emailed the result of that meeting. Raymond James and Carol Daniel assert that there are too many factors that played into the change of the economy to provide an accurate comparison as it relates to what any delay from our initial opening of August 24 to now our proposed opening of August 25 saved or cost our school system. That's what the expert says. Okay. I'm so opposed to this. The first time as board chair, I refused to sign the contract. And it breaks my heart. The whole deal breaks my heart. I'm not putting my name on this. And you need to know that, everyone. I'm voting no on this recommendation, and here's why. Because I always put students at the forefront of my concerns, and always have tried my best to use our school resources prudently. The contract we are voting on tonight for this land owned by the City of Social Circle on the truck route for the purpose of building our new school doesn't do either of these. We have another land opportunity that our experts tell us is a great site for our school, and that land costs substantially less than the City of Social Circle land. Both properties have plenty of room for our school and for expansion. The problem is when all things are considered, including current appraised values, the property on the truck route in this contract we're being asked to vote on tonight is costing our Board of Education, by my figures, Mr. Trentham, $2,800,000 more as compared to the option we have on the table. That doesn't include any potential delays. And I have the breakdown for anyone who wants to see it. And let me put $2.8 million in perspective for this segment. A school staff member could work a 30-year career and earn an average salary of $90,000 a year and still not earn $2.8 million. That's a lot of money. And we have a fixed budget for a new school. Unfortunately, this agreement with the City of Social Circle would mean our Board of Education would be forced to build a school that has substantially less in it for our students than we could have built for them on the land opportunity our Board of Education has for the other less expensive piece of property. So this transaction is clearly, in my view, worse for our students than the other land opportunity. It's a less school. We're spending money on land instead of a building. I'm also voting no because I would never and will never ever vote to put our students, staff, and community at unnecessary risk. I believe locating a school on the truck bypass is infinitely more dangerous than locating our school on our other land option that is not on the truck route. A school built on property included in this contract with the City Social Circle presently would have access to and from school only via the truck route. Built on this city land, our school would be trapped between our industrial area and I-20 with all that tractor-trailer traffic mixing with buses and other through traffic for decades to come. Decades to come. And listen, I help fleets mitigate risk for a living. And I simply can't in good conscience vote or support putting a school in this location on the truck route because in my view, the risk of tragic consequences is simply too great. If the other site was being recommended tonight, I would be voting happily yes, because I know we really need a new school. However, deny the recommendation for this contract with the City Social Circle for this land on the truck route, because we do have another option that would allow for a much nicer school facility for our students on what I believe to be a much safer location for our school. And on top of all this, we're being asked to vote tonight on city land that has never, ever been appraised. We're trading blind. And the survey isn't even fully completed yet. By the way, both are completed on the other less expensive piece of property. So I'm voting no, and I don't believe it'll be to any good extent here, but I'm asking my fellow members to vote no along with me, because we still have time to go with the other property that would result in a nicer school and a safer location for decades to come. Those are my comments. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say aye. The motion passes 3-2 with Mr. Trentham and myself voting no, Vice Chair, Ms. McKibben, and Mr. Jackson voting yes. 3-2, motion passes. Thank you.
Can I see those figures in writing?
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Meeting is adjourned.